Yo, it's Man Jay.
This is Mr. Bailey.
Cabby, you are now listening to Potato Salad Radio Show at 88.1 FM CKDU. What's up, PR?
Let's just get super serious. First of all, if we can pan in on the shirt here, stop the violence, all right? So that's a message, there's a period, there's an end of statement there. But I have some people here that we're going to talk a little bit further than just one statement on. Maybe you could introduce yourselves to our audiences. Who do we have here to my immediate left? Let me think. Immediate left?
Okay, so my name is Holly Marie. I am the new executive events director and brand promoter for Stop the Violence.
And I am Quentrel Provo, founder of Stop the Violence, and I'm just happy to be here and share the good news with you guys.
Very excited.
Before we get to the good news, I guess I want to rewind a little bit. To me, the fact that we're even discussing this is kind of a bad news. Or there was bad news at some point that started it. When did you get the idea to start? What kicked this off for you? I'm sure you've told the story a million times, but
I have told the story.
But for our audience, maybe if you would indulge us one more time.
It happened 4 years ago. One of my cousins, Kaylin Diggs, was killed downtown, and I want to kind of figure out a way to channel my anger, channel my hurt, and turn it into something positive. And it was a month after that we did Stop the Violence, the first annual Stop the Violence Day in March, where hundreds came or walked in a rainstorm, and I was just gonna, let it go. But then I seen that I had something good, and, it was something that wasn't being done at that point, so I continued to push, and, this year launched a brand in April 2015, and, here we are today, 4 years later, still pushing along.
Right. For you, it was a very specific piece of violence that kicked that into motion.
Yeah.
What do you guys think are some of the root problems that we face here in Halifax that contribute to the violence? Because the situation with you that affects you and your family, and affects all of us, because we're all, in my opinion, we're all sort of a giant family. But it should affect us when we lose one of ours. But what do you think it is that we face that are problems that lead to violence?
One of the problems I find is that we don't have enough structure as we used to have. When I was a kid, a lot of parents were allowed to discipline their kids and everything. That was a big thing growing up, and
definitely.
He took a spank.
Yeah.
I took a few.
Yeah.
And so,
Definitely.
where the government puts so many, rules in, kids, can do whatever they want. If mommy tries to touch you or daddy tries to touch you, they call the police and they're arrested. That's not a big problem. Also, speaking with some of those that have been locked up, they say that they give them a second chance where they get back out on the street, but they really don't have a second chance, because with a criminal record, you can't get a job anywhere.
Right.
So what do? They go back to knowing what they, on
what
the
other option is there?
And so the government, that's a government thing.
Right.
And I can't change the government, but, if we're going to give them a second chance, we got to give them a second chance.
Right. Right. Yeah, I
so.
do. What do you? Is there anything you wanted to add? I saw you were agreeing along with those points as well.
So the biggest thing for me is the youth don't really have much to do in our city. Right. So, and when I was with Bench Bullying, I did the school tour to talk to the kids, and we gave out shirts and stuff. I really seen a lot of hate and a lot of anger coming from kids, because a lot of them now, with technology the way that it is, they stay inside, and social connection isn't really that important anymore in our technological day and age. And now that, especially now with Stop the Violence, I see things so differently ever since that school tour, and we're going to be starting up one, which we'll get to later. But the thing with Ashley Kearse, right? A good friend of mine when I was younger, 18 years old, shot and paralyzed in a home invasion. When the justice system alone, like the Youth Act. It's terrible.
For people that don't know, for a person listening right now going, I don't know what's terrible. What's terrible about the Youth Act? Let's slow it down for people that are just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're living in a bubble. I don't know how they don't know that violence is an issue. It's all around us, but some people do want to live in that bubble or try to live in that bubble, and that's a part of the problem too. But tell people, what is the problem that we're seeing with this?
So the Youth Act is something that protects people
Young
under
offenders.
the age of 18.
Right.
And a lot of the time with a lot of offenses, I know personally when I got bullied really bad at Dartmouth High and I got attacked and I got videotaped and stuff, all the girl had to do was write me a letter saying she was sorry, right? And that's, to me, like, that's ridiculous. And one of the offenders, that I know of right now, only got 3 years for being a part of what happened to Ashley. Right? So seeing the Youth Act protecting these people who, I'm 18 years old. I knew what I was doing when I was 17, 16, 15.
I find that interesting because it's not often you hear the voice of, someone sort of speaking about their peers saying basically it needs to be harsher. Is that what I'm hearing? I don't want to put words in
it
people's
needs to be a lot more strict.
Where I find the problem is, as time has went on, like back in the day, a lot of young people didn't have direction.
True.
And so youth under 16 didn't know. But now we're at that technological phase in life where a lot of young people know what's wrong and what's right. So we have to change the law and be harsh on it, because now these kids know that they can go kill someone or go shoot someone, and I'm only going to get slapped on the wrist. I'm not even going to have an adult criminal record.
Yeah.
And so that's the sad thing about the Youth Justice Act. I did paralegal, so I went in depth with that, and it's sad how they can get away with so much.
Right. But go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
It seems like, especially just having friends that, like, in general, like our age, like, oh, you know what? I wish I did a lot more when I was younger because I could have got away with it. You know what I mean? And it's like, it really puts things into perspective, because you're like, wow, like, if that's the case, like, it's so easy to just go out and commit a crime and go out and hurt people, and you know what I mean? So it's just, there's nothing to really prevent people, like, younger from doing anything.
Is part of the problem